Akshita, is there any problem for you?
Just a second. Sorry for the problem. A very warm welcome to Dr. Manisha Matkar to DY Pal University School of Pharmacy. Now, I would like to highlight some points about the ma'am. Her qualifications, she has done her MBBS from MGM Aurangabad in 1998, DTO from Terna College in Navi Mumbai in 2000, Diploma in Medical Cosmetology in 2014. Her experience is she has performed the surgery in the diagnosis and treatment of gynecological problems, effectively carried out the vaginal deliveries, forceps deliveries, vacuum application, vaginal hyper medical termination of pregnancy and distillation and evacuation since 2014. She is also the member of American Academy of Aesthetic Medicine. Her certification is she is the management of vascular complications in pregnancy, management of labor and obstetric emergencies, IUI hands-off training. Ma'am, I would like to welcome to our college. Now, I would request Dr. Rocket Sumani sir to say a few words.
Yeah, so good afternoon, one and all present over here on this platform. It gives me an immense pleasure to welcome Dr. Manisha Matkar, who is a well-known gynecologist in the area of Navi Mumbai and specifically into Kharghar. Of course, we are good friends also as we work on this social platform. Dr. Matkar has already been introduced about her profile. But she's very kind-hearted, particularly, and known to many people and help the persons in distress. Madam, I would like to just introduce you about our School of Pharmacy. As you know that D.Y. Patil University is one of the oldest universities in this particular area. However, the School of Pharmacy was established last year, that is in 2019, and we are running two courses, Diploma in Pharmacy and Degree in Pharmacy. We are into second year of diploma and degree pharmacy now. Okay, so this school is actually striving hard to give the different kind of exposure to our students. And as we are going to talk about a very important, very sensitive topic of PCOS today, I think all the students, maybe gents or the ladies, all of you should understand this topic very sincerely, scientifically, and try to pass on whatever message madam gives you today. So on this platform, once again, I welcome you, madam, and thankful to you for sparing your valuable time with us today. We look forward for this kind of association always. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
And over to you now.
I would request Dr.
Yeah.
I'll start, sir.
Yeah, please.
Sure. At the outset, thank you so much, Dr. Rakesh sir, for inviting me for this beautiful online session of PCOS. I would like to thank all the students who are attending this online session. I know, we are now realizing it, how difficult it becomes for students also to understand the online programs and online sessions. My kids are also going through it. So understanding it really needs capability of the students to go through this online exam, understanding or education. So I first of all start my session by appreciating all the students for attending this session. I thank you on the School of Pharmacy, D.Y. Patil University, and all the staff. Thank you, Akshita, for such a nice introduction. And let's start with the presentation. When Rakesh sir called me and told me that, madam, we are going to have a PCOS session, and we would like you to give this session. And one more permission, should the boys be available or should be there in the session or not? I said, yes, please don't differentiate between boys and girls, because girls are going through this problem and boys should understand why this is happening, how this is happening, and what support they can give to their female colleague, relative, brother, sister, mother, sister, classmates, whoever it is, how much support and in which way support they can give, that would be really needed. And also further, also when you go into research or even small thing, like even if you go to a pharmacy also, lot many times we face this problem that we prescribe some medicine like metformin or so, and for PCOS, and patient or the pharmacist calls me and says me, madam ye to diabetes ka medicine hai, डायबिटीज का मेडिसिन है, आपने डायबिटीज का मेडिसिन दिया है ये पेशेंट को. So you really have to understand what is the intention of giving these medicines. So thank you for allowing even the male participants to be there. Just a minute, sir. So, polycystic ovarian syndrome, it was described by Steen and Leventhal in 1935. PCOS is one condition where people always like to agree to disagree. Over the years, these disagreements have continued. The criteria for diagnosis keeps on changing. Even the management guidelines keep on changing. The latest guidelines in 2018 were given by ASRM in the Congress of Barcelona, and they were designed to provide clear information to assist clinical decision making and support optimal patient care. And it is the culmination of the work of over 3,000 health professionals and consumers internationally. So what is PCOS? PCOS, the polycystic ovarian syndrome. Initially, it was called polycystic ovarian disease. Now it is called a syndrome. It is a group of symptoms. It's the most common metabolic abnormality in young women today of reproductive age. Most common cause of infertility in women, and studies of PCOS in India reported a prevalence of 3.7% to 22% of females are having PCOS, and especially 36% prevalence in adolescents. So you understand the gravity of this problem. 36% of females are going through this problem. And for that reason, you will have to understand what is there. You need to study and go ahead with the treatment and management part. So etiology, earlier it was believed that a large number of genomic variants have been associated with PCOS, and many of these associations with PCOS have not been replicated in different populations. Means they initially said that it is a genetic variation, but they were not able to prove it. Now it is believed that the picture is a multigenic etiology in which non-genetic factors such as diet and exercise have a strong influence on the development of the disorder. So in short, let's understand what is PCOS. So there is a abnormal feedback at the hypothalamus, which will abnormally secrete increased gonadotropin releasing hormone. Then that increased GnRH acts on pituitary. It will increase the LH secretion from pituitary, which disrupts the LH-FSH ratio, and increased amount of LH will act on ovary, the theca cells. The theca cells indirectly will increase the androgen secretion, that is the testosterone secretion. And this increased androgen secretion have lot of impact on the PCOS person, like abnormal lipid profile. Then it will cause increased adipose tissue formation. It will cause increased estrone in a non-cyclic way. Normally there is estrone secretion, but in a cyclic way. This estrone will be formed in non-cyclic way, which acts on uterus, which will cause endometrial hyperplasia. Adipose tissue, if it is increased in quantity, then it will cause insulin resistance. It will cause follicular atresia, anovulation, amenorrhea. It will cause effects on skin and will have hirsutism, acne, acanthosis nigrans. So in short, this abnormal feedback has to be studied. Why there is abnormal feedback? There are n number of reasons they have given. So let's see what it can be. This is the clinical features. Clinical features of PCOS, very important, hyperandrogenism. You can see in this picture, this is a female. She's having lot of hair on her face. And this replicates like a male distribution of hair on the skin. And this is what we see especially in adolescent. This is also common in some communities, like in Sindhi communities, you can see this type of presentation of hair also. This is called hirsutism. There is increased prevalence of acne. There is increased incidence of androgenic alopecia. This we commonly see in male, but in females, because of PCOS, you'll be seeing this androgenic alopecia. Then the next common presentation is the oligomenorrhea, which you see in 70 to 75% of patients. There is amenorrhea in 20% of patients, and infertility in 30 to 70% of patients who are into the reproductive age group. Next clinical feature is the obesity, which is the central adiposity, we call it. Means below the waist, there is lot of fat deposition. I'll show you a picture in the further slides. There is insulin resistance, which causes acanthosis nigrans. You can see this dark patch on the neck. There is a dark patch in the underarms. All this you can see because of insulin resistance. You can see these skin tags here. These skin tags are also due to PCOS and insulin resistance. You can see impaired glucose tolerance test in these patients, presentation of type 2 diabetes mellitus. Those patients who are type 2 diabetes mellitus, if you studied them or evaluate them, then they can be seen like you can correlate them with the PCOS. Now, how to go further and evaluate? There are some criteria we'll see. First, let's see the biochemical evidence of hyperandrogenism. Hyperandrogenism means high levels of androgen. What is that? Is serum total testosterone. We go for it, and we can find out if that levels are high. It will be one of the sign of PCOS. Then USG evidence of polycystic ovary. On ultrasound, you can see this black dots over here. These are undeveloped follicles. We call it pearl-like ovary. These are black pearls, and these are undeveloped follicles. They are thick-walled, and because of that, they don't rupture, and then they cause anovulation, and indirectly they'll cause fertility. So 12 or more follicles in each ovary. You just don't have to count single ovary, but in each ovary, more than 12 follicles. And that too, they are of very small diameter. That is, they should be less than 10 millimeter. 2 to 9 millimeter in diameter, and the ovarian volume also increases. It should be more than 10 ml to designate that yes, it is a polycystic ovary. This is the Rotterdam criteria. Exclusion of other differential diagnosis. In PCOS, it's a syndrome. Exclude that, okay, this is not other diseases like hyperprolactinemia, hypothyroidism, non-classical congenital adrenal hyperplasia, differential diagnosis, and you can do serum prolactin to rule out hyperprolactinemia. You can do thyroid test to rule out hypothyroidism. Once all these have been diagnosed and ruled out, then you can label that female as she is having PCOS. PCOS is not very direct diagnosis. Others are ovarian and adrenal tumors, Cushing syndrome, glucocorticoid resistance, and if the patient is having history of using danazol or OCPs, you have to rule out, then only you can confirm the diagnosis of PCOS. There are some criteria given by different associations, and we follow this Rotterdam criteria the most, or frequently it is followed by the clinicians. The National Institute of Health in 1990 had given these criteria, that there should be menstrual irregularity, there should be hyperandrogenism, and other hypothyroidism and all. These should be ruled out. Then only it can be diagnosed as PCOS. The Rotterdam says 2 out of 3 is required. Means out of these 4 criteria, at least 2 criteria, especially out of these 3 criteria, the minimum 2 should be there. The patient should have complaints of, which will indicate that she is a PCOS. The menstrual irregularity, hyperandrogenism, and if USG also supporting is showing polycystic ovary. So at least 2 should be present. The Androgen Access Society in 2006, it also gave some criteria near about the same: menstrual irregularities plus or minus USG showing polycystic ovary or hyperandrogenism, and exclusion of the other etiologies. So normally we are following this Rotterdam criteria. Menstrual irregularity is given, the patient gives the history of menstrual irregularity. Hyperandrogenism, when the patient walks into the clinic, we can work it out. Male pattern deposition of hair, then adiposity, central obesity, all these will show that she is showing hyperandrogenism. And along with that, if the USG is also means it will imprint that yes, she is a patient of PCOS. So now, if the diagnosis is made on these clinical findings, so how to go ahead with the management? Management, there is very wide prospectus for management. It includes a dietitian, we include a physiotherapist or a clinician who can help us in diet and exercise. Lot many things are there. First, let's start with lifestyle modifications. Very, very, very important. As we saw in the second slide, that there is non-genetic factors which are contributing to the PCOS. So the first is the lifestyle modification, and in that it comes low calorie diet, regular and brisk walk, 25 to 35 minutes daily. What do you mean by lifestyle interventions? So healthy lifestyle behaviors, healthy eating and regular physical activity should be recommended in all women with PCOS, including those with excess weight too. Means healthy lifestyle, that is healthy eating, regular physical activity. This is not only for the girls or females who are having excess weight, but even there is a entity called lean PCOS, in that the patient is thin, but still she is a PCOS patient. And in that patient also, we advise healthy eating and regular physical exercise, because these have an impact on the hormonal. We saw the chart of how the hormones are affecting each other and the symptoms are seen. So that abnormal action, that cycle is broken down because of healthy eating and regular activity, and that indirectly helps us to manage the PCOS. Achieve and or maintain that healthy weight. Just doing a crash course of diet and crash course of gymming is not going to help these patients, but this exercise and proper dieting is required to be consistent. It should be maintained. It's not that 6 months, okay, oh, I lost 10 kgs and then now I don't want to, now that's okay, I maintain, I achieved my goal and now I'm not going to do anything. And again, within 6 months, you are going to go double the weight and double the fat tissues and all. So you have to maintain that also to optimize health and quality of life across the course. So this is what healthy lifestyle, which not only but regular exercise. And here I would like to add meditation also, because meditation indirectly will reduce your stress. That stress will indirectly reduce your adrenal gland secretions, hormones, and that indirectly will have a positive impact on the PCOS. So lifestyle modifications, I would say, is a gold standard in management of PCOS. Hormonal contraceptives is the next line of treatment. It is the first line of treatment of hirsutism, acne, and menstrual irregularities. So what happens about the weight? I forgot to this slide. Achievable goals such as 5 to 10% weight loss in those with excess weight yields significant clinical improvements and is considered successful weight reduction within 6 months. So the weight reduction is not that I'm expecting 10 kgs in 1 month or 6 months or so. Even when you start doing these exercises and a healthy lifestyle, 5 to 10% is only our goal. So if you start today with exercise and weight reduction and diet, so our target would be, if it is you are 50 kg, so only 5% of that will be your goal to set कि 5% weight ही reduce करना है आपको. So we don't have, we have to have realistic goals. Just सोचना नहीं है कि oh my god इतना weight loss करना है, and then it demotivates the patient. So just 5 to 10% of weight loss, and that too we are giving a time of 6 months to reduce. So 6 months में 5 to 10%, तो कोई भी आराम से definitely with a good lifestyle can reduce that weight. About the hormone therapy, yes. Combined OC pills containing estrogen and progesterone is given cyclically, which helps in controlling the menstrual problems, hirsutism, acne, and extra weight. We have seen very good results with just OC pills. But there is little bit difference in OC pills given to adolescent females and OC pills given to females in the reproductive age group. We'll come to that later. But just a 6 months or a 1 year course of OC pills has significantly reduced the clinical presentation of PCOS females. Up to 50% significant changes have been seen. So it's really important, if you see PCOS females, means it happens, that you can recommend them to proper gynecologist so that they can start the treatment earlier. Basically, the problem is in PCOS, these manifestations, hirsutism, acne, and extra weight, especially in adolescent girls, are taboo, I would say. They consider it. Problem is they feel ki boss, this is not acceptable by the society, and that gives lot of mental pressure or mental stress to the females. the acne spots and then the acne scars, it gives us a lot of bad image about self to the female. They maybe people don't notice it also, but still they feel for themselves that this is something which is not accepted. Acne even in boys also, that's a different issue, that they are having some other androgen excess, and that's why they are also having acne. But in females, hirsutism, acne and extra weight, these are the three main concerns, skin concerns, which we really need to tackle at a earlier stage. And that's the thing, if we diagnose a female with PCOS at an earlier age, that is adolescent age, then things are very comfortable. The treatment can be done comfortably just by taking some medicines and some local application, and those acne things won't trouble them for lifelong. So OC pills are gold standard in that, where the estrogen is the ethinyl estradiol, which is given in the doses of 20 or 30 microgram per day. And the other component can be drospirenone. Nowadays, drospirenone is showing wonderful effects. Cyproterone, these two medicines, especially we give in adolescent acne, adolescent hirsutism, and they work wonders. They reduce the acne to a very significant level. Progesterones are used of many types, and they have variable effect on acne, weight, hirsutism to be considered when prescribing OC pills. As I said, drospirenone is the new molecule, and it shows wonderful results in acne. Then the other medicines, spironolactone, it is an androgen receptor blockage. So the increased androgens are not attached to the receptors, and because of that, the androgen excess symptoms are not seen. It is an aldosterone receptor blockade. Again, it is steroid synthesis inhibitor. All these three actions will help to reduce the clinical presentation. But spironolactone is a second line drug for treatment of hirsutism and acne. First line, of course, is the OC pills, and it is not used alone. It is if used alone, alternative contraception needed. Means in reproductive age group, if spironolactone is given, it is not good for the fetus. It has congenital effects on the fetus. So if a patient is put on spironolactone, we have to give some alternative contraception. Like if a female is married, then we can suggest them condoms or OC pills. So if given along with OC pills, or if the OC pills are not showing result within 6 months of use, then we can add this spironolactone, so it will additively show good results. And also spironolactone has no endometrial protection. So you really have to think about giving spironolactone with, of course, with precautions. Just in the starting of the session, I told you about metformin. Metformin is usually given for PCOS management, but in reproductive age group where we don't want to give OC pills and we want that female to conceive. What is the action of metformin? It increases insulin sensitivity. As you have seen in the chapter, insulin resistance is increased in PCOS patient. Okay, and it will show its picture clinically into diabetes. So metformin is given in diabetes patient also and in PCOS patient also to increase the insulin sensitivity. There is insulin formation in PCOS patient also, but the sensitivity is decreased, and that's why the glucose levels are high. So when metformin helps to increase the sensitivity, and it directly inhibit human theca cell androgen synthesis, which will decrease androgen synthesis and reduce the symptoms of PCOS. So status in PCOS management of metformin, women with PCOS and type 2 diabetes mellitus, metformin is the drug of choice. Women who cannot take oral contraceptives. Which women can't take oral contraceptives? Either those women who want to conceive, or those women who are who have contraindication for oral contraceptives. And those females to control PCOS, we give metformin. It is an adjuvant therapy in women undergoing IVF. It prevents ovarian hyperstimulation. So we have now seen the pharmacological treatment. Menstrual calendar can be regularized just with metformin. We maintain that calendar, and it helps in lot of understanding of the PCOS along with diet and exercise changes. Then COCP, combined oral contraceptive pills, we have seen. Progestins are used in patients who have amenorrhea or oligomenorrhea of age, more age group. We don't use very frequently in adolescent age group. Metformin you have seen. Then the cosmetic like effects, the cosmetic treatment for especially the hirsutism. There is option of mechanical hair removal like plucking, shaving, electrolysis, laser. So pharmacological treatment is this, and cosmetic treatment is mechanical hair removal. These are the form of treatment in especially in adolescent females. As I showed you, told you about the apple versus pear. In pear shape is a normal this thing. In PCOS, you see this central obesity. And this is not accepted by most of the females. And that's why there's a vicious cycle, I would say. Because of the increased levels of androgens, there is adiposity. Adiposity will give depression effect on the behavior. Then that behavior will show some effects in eating habits. Those eating habits will again increase the adiposity. So somewhere or the other, you will have to cut this vicious cycle. But initially, you can start by motivating them for exercise and diet, then along with the pharmacological treatment, along with the cosmetic treatment, and this is going to be at a consistent and regular level, and definitely these symptoms of PCOS can be controlled. Now, PCOS, of course, is a metabolic syndrome. These are the later side effects of PCOS. We have diabetes, as we said. Obesity is another thing. Hyperinsulinemia, hypertension, atherogenic dyslipidemia, atherosclerosis, hyperglycemia. These are all the late sequel of PCOS. And as it is, the American Association has already included PCOS as an important risk factor for diabetes and have recommended screening for diabetes by age 30 in all patients with PCOS. So early you have to start screening these females for diabetes because they are more prone to diabetes. So as we discussed earlier, treatment of adolescents is for first line treatment with suspected PCOS is contraceptives, lifestyle hormonal contraceptives, lifestyle therapy, that is calorie restricted diet and exercise. Also first line, if overweight and obesity, lifestyle therapy changes into first line treatment. Metformin used to treat metabolic syndrome, and till how much time we really don't know, but you have to go for it consistently. So message for young girls. Young girls should be advised to adopt healthy lifestyle in the form of balanced diet, having locally available food articles like all cereals, pulses, green leafy vegetables, seasonal fruits, fish, jaggery and dairy products in appropriate amount. They should avoid soft drinks, chocolates and junk food. Especially friends when you go for outing or after the college or all, friends really insist ki chal aaj chocolates khate hai, ya we'll go somewhere out and eat and all. So when you are in such a group that you know one of your friend is having a problem of PCOS, so why not support her कि नहीं ठीक है यार हम लोग ये नहीं खाते, जंक फूड नहीं खाते, चलो जूस पीते हैं, या something healthy options you can find out. They should be advised to play outdoor games and do regular physical exercises like cycling, skipping, jogging, swimming, etc. So even you can support your friends and family members by accompanying them by playing in all these games, or accompanying them with the physical exercises. This will go a long way to prepare a girl to let her develop as a perfect adolescent with minimal menstrual dysfunction. Lifestyle. Another major impact of PCOS is on fertility of the patient. So again, the same medicines are there. Some surgical treatments are also there. Lifestyle modifications, insulin sensitizing agents like metformin. Then for pregnancy, clomiphene citrate or letrozole is there, which we induce. Gonadotropins injections. Laparoscopic ovarian drilling is a laparoscopic procedure. We reduce the follicles, what we saw initially, the pearl, black pearls sort of thing. We reduce those, drill those ovarian cysts, so that number of cysts is reduced and even the AMH level is controlled. We try IUI, intrauterine insemination and ovulation induction, and the last option is the in vitro fertilization. So I think with this small presentation, I would say ki this much is enough for us to understand what is going on with a female who is having PCOS, and we really need to support them by, first of all, is early diagnosis and starting treatment, lifestyle changes, and supporting them with the lifestyle changes. So I think I have covered most of the points, and if any doubts, sir, I think I have finished earlier.
It's okay. I mean, perfectly, in fact, because if there are doubts, we can take good questions from the students. So if students, Vaishnavi Dabadkar is already asking. So Vaishnavi, you take out that session of question answer.
So I have one question. What is the effect of COVID-19 on women having PCOS? Is there any effect?
There is no different or separate effect on PCOS. It is the same as you are going to have in any general person. Nothing, COVID is not going to attack a PCOS female first and then non-PCOS female second. It's going to be a general effect, beta. Anything else? I hope I have answered your question, Vaishnavi.
Ma'am, may I?
Please, please.
Ma'am, is it completely curable, or it is not curable at all?
Anjali, right?
Disha.
As I told you, that PCOS is a metabolic syndrome, and thing is, it is not going to be completely silent. We know that it's only the thing which is affecting it is the lifestyle. In the initial slides we have seen, it's not a genetic problem that's it's going to recur, but it is not going to be completely normal. Yes, the presentations are going to be reduced, like hirsutism, like acne, irregular menses. These can be reduced, but not, it is not going to completely, like, okay, diabetes जैसे completely जाता ही नहीं है. It will stay, it will be stable, but it's not going to harm you if it is kept stable. Okay, Disha?
Thank you.
Yeah.
So, madam, I have a question.
Yes.
So you have already given lot of symptoms, right, about this. But since you have been practicing since long, is there anything, one or two characteristic features, if you can tell these all students, these are the symptoms which one can separately understand, identify, and immediately can catch hold of the, I mean, I should not use the word catch hold, immediately one can approach the gynecologist in that
Yes.
case. Okay, so
Yeah.
can you just brief about it?
Yes. So the basic two things are, first is the hyperandrogenism.
Oh.
And second is the menstrual irregularities. These two things, if you catch hold, okay, this female is having hirsutism, like hair like presentation here, बहुत सारा hair है, not only on the face, she will have hair all over her body, on the navel, and you will, by just seeing at her, you will see, oh, she is having hirsutism. So in such cases, please go to the doctor. Menstrual irregularities, as it is, they go to the doctor. But here I would like to say, most of the mothers especially, they are like, oh madam, they start the menses at 10-12 years nowadays, so it is early menarche, but madam, they are having irregular menses. At that starting of the menses, they'll say it's menstrual irregularity. No, just give your body 1 to 2 hours or 2 years of time to get used to this. And even after the age of 16, you are not having proper menses, irregular menses, less menses, then please approach the gynecologist. These two basic, hyperandrogenism, hirsutism, acne, and irregular menses. These are the basic two criterias. Clinically or without going to the doctor, you will understand, isko PCOS ho sakta hai. In that case, please consult the gynecologist.
Okay, thank you.
There is one question in chat box. What is the insulin resistance and how does it affect PCOS?
Yes. In the starting one slide, I have shown that it affects the theca cells. Okay. And insulin, this is adiposity, it will cause insulin resistance. I hope I have told you in the picture of hypothalamus and pituitary, I have explained you that the adiposity will cause insulin resistance, and that insulin resistance will cause PCOS, because in that it will affect the theca cells, increase androgen secretion, increase symptoms of PCOS.
Ma'am, thank you, ma'am. There is one more question. How can I permanently cure PCOS?
Yeah. So basically, if you want to cure PCOS, you need to have a healthy lifestyle. That is the only thing you have control in your hand. Okay. If you want to cure it completely with pharmacological methods, you need to meet the doctor, and PCOS can be made stable. It is not 101% completely curable, but the side effects of PCOS can be reduced to minimum by healthy lifestyle and some medicines from the doctors.
So yoga plays an important role, I believe. As you mentioned, meditation also plays an important role.
Yes.
So can you please tell our students that, because we conduct the yoga sessions and we are observing that number of participants in these yoga sessions are reducing. Okay, so can you please highlight the importance of this yoga to all these young people, because this young generation, they are typically not very savvy towards that. So please, your advice on that.
Yeah. So yoga is a form of healthy lifestyle. Very important thing by yoga, the flexibility of joints and muscles is attained. And when you are happy with your own body, good hormones, you know what are good hormones, they are secreted directly. And that gives you a very good feeling, which indirectly will stimulate rest of your activities. मॉर्निंग में ही अगर मम्मी चिल्लाने लग गई तो मूड खराब हो जाता है, राइट? पूरा दिन खराब हो जाता है. ओके, बट इफ मदर मतलब मॉर्निंग में ही मम्मी अच्छी आवाज में उठाएगी, बहुत प्यारी प्यारी बातें करेगी, तो इट्स लाइक, ओ वाओ, मेरा दिन बहुत अच्छा जाने वाला है. सेम थिंग, योगा हैज अ इफेक्ट ऑन योर बॉडी. It secretes good hormone, it improves flexibility. If it is secreting good hormone, your mood already is elevated for all of the time, right? Then flexibility, you are able to, your capacity of doing your physical work increases. And that's why indirectly it gives a what you say, you are happy with yourself ki acha main ye bhi kar sakti hu, wo bhi kar sakti hu. Your capacity to do your physical activities increased. So that is very important. And along with, sorry, though I'm a doctor, but definitely I would say it gives a lot of positive vibrations. You allow your mind to rest while doing yoga. So किसी को भी rest मिलने के बाद, you see how energetic you become. The same way, this is a little bit not totally proven, but this is what I have also experienced. So that is the effect on yoga. Now maybe you people are like, अरे time नहीं मिलता है, रात में late होता है सोने के लिए, and that's why we are not able to make it. और वो इतना slow pace में, उससे अच्छा gym is okay. But gym में आपके mind को rest करने के लिए time नहीं मिलता है. That is what I have experienced. I have done crossmatics, and I have done gymming, and I have done running marathons, and even yoga, nowadays walking, up hills also. I have seen Rakesh sir doing the same also many times. So all these have their own benefits, but especially yoga, it gives all your mind, indirectly I would say it gives high to your mind by keeping it at rest. So please, if you are having sessions of yoga, you are privileged to attend it, because we have to go to classes, pay money and attend it. So if you are seriously.
Here we are paying money to the yoga teacher, and we want all our students to take the benefit of that.
Yes.
Okay.
And if you know you are a PCOS patient, or if you are not a PCOS patient, this lifestyle modifications are going to help you in the long run. At this age of 50, we understand what is the importance of these lifestyle changes. Healthy diet. We don't say we don't say कि हम लोग junk food नहीं खाते हैं, but not so frequently that it is going to have a bad effect on our life, on our health. So definitely, please adopt these healthy lifestyle changes. Many of you people are doing it. In fact, we get inspired from you people ki they are doing it so consistently. But those who are not doing it, I definitely would recommend, especially if they are having PCOS females, please do follow that. Lot many questions are there here.
Vaishnavi, you can take a couple of questions.
Yes, ma'am. What are the other health concerns women should be aware of?
Health concerns. Okay. Medically, there are lot many concerns, but basic, I would again say your lifestyle. And another one more is hygiene part, especially related with whatever your gynec activities, intimate parts and all for females, and lifestyle changes. These are the main health concerns. Means I'm talking in a positive way. Now there are n number of health concerns in females. That's why we doctors are running our hospitals. So it can be mental, it can be physical, it can be social. Especially nowadays, Facebook pe like nahi kiya hai, Instagram pe like nahi kiya hai. This can also be a health concern to some. So it is totally your way of looking to it. But I would say two basic things you need to follow: hygiene and lifestyle modifications. That's what I would say.
One question: what is the effect of PCOS on pregnancy?
Yes, that's what we had discussed in the last part. PCOS, apart from irregular menses and obesity and all these things, it causes infertility. Infertility is the main concern in PCOS, because the endometrium is not developed, then the follicles are not developing, and sometimes the extreme is we need to do IVF also, that is test tube baby or in vitro fertilization in these females to get them pregnant. So for that reason, you don't know what you're going to face later on. In some patients, it's ataxia, they get pregnant. But in some patients, it really causes concern. Some patients have not gotten pregnant since so long, taking treatment for years and years. So that is a big effect of PCOS because of the hormonal imbalance in PCOS. Yes, next one, please.
What's the difference between PCOS and PCOD?
I'm not able to hear.
So PCOS and PCOD, that difference somebody has asked. You already mentioned, but you can again, yeah.
Yes. So initially it was a disease, they said, but now it is a syndrome. Syndrome is symptoms, multiple symptoms in one this thing, and disease is a single problem. So PCOS is not a single problem, but is a collection of 2 to 3 problems, and that's why it's called a syndrome. I think we have what is the effect of PCOS in pregnancy? What are the chances of recurrence of PCOS in patient who have cured it once? As it is, I told earlier, it is not complete cure. If you again go back to your normal lifestyle, like not exercising and not having a healthy diet, again the symptoms will recur. It's like diabetes कि आप मीठा खाना बंद करो 6 महीने में दवाइयाँ लो and diabetes will be normal, but again after 6 months you start doing the same thing, follow the old lifestyle, it's going to recur. So it's like आप उसको शांत make it okay, आप शांति से रहो, आपको जो चाहिए मैं देता हूँ, तो शांति से रहेंगे. आपने उसको प्रोवाइड नहीं किया लाइफस्टाइल चेंजेस एंड डाइट एंड मेडिसिन्स, then it is going to again hangama karega, that sort of thing.
Yeah, I think Vaishnavi, you can summarize.
Yes. For such an informative session. Now I would like to end the session by a vote of thanks. I, Ms. Vaishnavi Dabharkar, Ladies Representative, on behalf of D.Y. Patil University School of Pharmacy, sincerely thank our today's speaker.
I think Vaishnavi's internet is bad. Yeah. So
Our Prince Dr. Rakesh Somani sir for arranging such informative session and always looking for betterment of the students and supporting us.
So I will fill in the blank, Vaishnavi, because your internet went blank and you missed the name of, the speaker today. So, madam,
sorry,
yeah.
sir.
So anyway, no problem. So on your behalf, I will say thanks to her once again. And this was an activity, dear students, we have conducted under Women Development Cell. You know, we have WDC sales, so under that WDC we have conducted this activity. As we say that Nari, what is called as it is a matter of it is a form of Shakti or power, and we want that all this women empowerment, all this women power of our country should come forward and strive hard for the profession, for the country also, and that's why we do a lot of activity for the girls specifically. But this session was jointly for all of you, and I have learned a lot of things. Thank you, madam, for your this kind of interaction and this kind of orientation to all of us. We look forward for such kind of more interaction in future also. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was very nice interaction and very good questions from all of you students. It was really nice session, I would say. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, ma'am.
Everyone.
So, yeah.
Thank you so much.
So with your due permission, we'll close the session. Yeah.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Thank you.
Sure. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.